Good evening. I think we're live. I hope we're live. Good evening, Robert Blake. Good evening, Flingers Dingus. You can't stay around tonight, but wanted to jump on to say hey. Hey! To be honest, I don't know how long I'm going to survive. It's very, very hot up here. I've got a fan on, which you might be able to hear, which is... Let me know if it's really loud, and then I'll turn it off. I'll suffer for my art. Erica Drool. Drowl? I don't know how to say your name. Sorry. Hi, I started watching your channel for a few weeks now and wanted to say thank you for the hard work and motivation to paint. You're very welcome. Hello, Lizzie Lies. Oh, it is very, very warm today. I hope everyone's okay and not suffering too much in the heat. So we are, of course, doing our hobby hangout tonight. I shall be doing some hobby. Hoping you will be doing some hobby too. Let me know what you're doing. We'll have a good time. Again, I might have to pace myself tonight. I might have to disappear and get some water. I've got this much to get me through. Don't know if you can see that. So I might have to disappear halfway through to get an extra top up, so that I don't wilt before your eyes on camera, because that would be really bad. So, as usual, I will leave the choices up to your esteemed selves about what we're going to do tonight. We can either continue with the Primaris Chaplain on bike, start doing some highlights, or we can do a little bit of Hobgrotz. I've been working on some Hobgrotz in the background, trying to figure out my recipe for them. And we're going to do a bit of that tonight. And those are your options. I don't have any other options. I'm finishing to assemble my Indomitus box. Can't wait to prime it and start to paint it. Lovely stuff. Indomitus. Really? A year later? I need to finish my Indomitus box. There are so many Necrons that need painting. And 2 Outriders. We had thunder and lightning in London, so after a nice hot day we have a lovely clammy humid evening. Oh. Yeah. We haven't had any thunder and lightning here yet. Allegedly it's all at the end of the week is when we're going to be having that. Hobgrotz. We've got to vote for Hobgrotz. So I've got 10 that I've been working on for the recipe figuring out stage of things. So I've got the other 10 back so I can film them for all of you lovely people. I have been working on some extra storm hosts as well. And some more basing tutorials. Well, a new basing tutorial. Hey, Just Kev. The options are Hobgrotz or Primaris Chaplain on bike. You can continue with him. Oh, you found one on Amazon, did you, Erica? That's really cool. I'm currently painting some Stormcast and planning out a big kit bash for my Grey Knights. I'm nervous and very excited. Ooh. That sounds interesting. Colour me intrigued. Oh, we got 3 votes for the Hobgrotz. I'm still undecided on the paint scheme for the new Stormcasts. Well, Xavier, let me show you what I've been working on today and yesterday. So, this one we've done, as you may have already seen on the channel, Celestial Vindicator. There we go. He looks pretty good. I'm really pleased with how he's turned out. Well, how they've turned out. And this is how I'm going to be painting the rest of the set. But what I've also been doing is working on the other storm hosts as well. So there we go. That's one Vindictor. But I wanted to make sure that anybody who didn't want to paint Celestial Vindicators got an opportunity to sort of see how I would do the other ones. So that's the Celestial Vindicator there. We'll pop him there for a minute. And then what we've finished today is a Hammer of Sigmar. Here he is. Look at this bad boy. He looks so good. Not sure if it's focusing properly on him. Let's come right nice and close and do that. There we go. So there he is. So we've done him today. Well, finished him off. And we've also done a cracked lava base for him. Because this one is basically representing the plains of Gur. So like desert bases. This one is Akshi. With that sort of muted lava-y type finish. So here we go. We've got our Hammer of Sigmar. And what I've been working today, perhaps unwisely in this heat, is I've also been working on an Anvils of the Heldenhammer Vindictor as well. So she's coming along nicely. We're also going to do, I think, Hallowed Knights. Definitely Hallowed Knights. We're going to do, I think maybe Tempest Lords, but I haven't decided yet. What have I got? I've got 3 less. So I've got definitely Hallowed Knights, so that's one more. And then we could do an Astral Templar, but then we've just done that with Silas Beastbane, so we could do Celestial something or other, not Vindicators, the other one. Warbringers, Celestial Warbringers. And the last one, Knights Excelsior, maybe? Or we could do Tempest Lords. This is going to sound like some right proper heresy, but I'm doing a Contemptor Dreadnought Grey Knight. The Dinky Waddlenaught doesn't cut it for me. Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. Question, off the top of your head, what would be a good contrast mix for an AOS Abhorrent Archregent, pretty please? Just the skin. Those Stormcast look sick. Thank you very much, Just Kev. Love that gold. Thank you, Lizzie Lies. I love that gold too. I feel like I've outdone myself on this one. So yeah, in fact, Xavier, why don't you tell me which one, if you've got a storm host in mind, that I didn't mention there, let me know, and I might do that one instead. But underdog painting. So off the top of my head, Abhorrent Archregent. Let's have a look. Abhorrent Archregent. Okay, here we go. I'm just not on the right webpage at all for this. Right, come on. Come on now, Josh. Get it together. I know it's hot, but go to the right website. I'm going to have a look for you. An abhorrent arch region. Oh, good lord. Okay. Do you know what? Looking at the GW box art, no, not box art, the product photography, it does fade up into a black on the back, but for the majority of the skin, I think you wouldn't go too far wrong if you followed my Gorslav the Gravekeeper tutorial, which I will now drop a link to in the chat. That one might help you. Just Kev. Gorslav. Yeah, Gorslav the Gravekeeper. Yeah, because his flesh is pretty much exactly the same colour. So, there you go, Just Kev. I've studied your Gaunt's ghost scheme to use on the new Orc Commandos plus your Cruel Boy skin recipe. Awesome. That's pretty much what the Beast Snaggers are probably going to come out as. Might make them a little bit paler, but I don't know yet. Hey, I'm undecided because I've painted plenty of Vanguard Stormcasts in gold, and I don't know if I want to keep painting gold or go for a change. Well, I mean, to be honest, if you stay gold, you're going to get all the good characters. Like Bastion Carthalos, that new Lord Commander of the Storm Host. And apparently he's an absolute weapon of an individual. So, there is that. Okay. So, at the moment, the vote stands as Hobgrotz are in the lead. So I shall grab my Hobgrotz and you can see where we're at with them. Here we are. Ah. I know certain individuals that would be horrified that I just did that. Here we go. So that's what I've done so far on these Hobgrotz. So I've been sort of trying to figure it out slowly. And I was halfway through doing the silver, that's correct, on them. Let's just separate them out into ones that have had that done. 1, 2, 3. 4. No. 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 Oh, you go in the no pile, Mr. Hobgrotz. You go in the yes pile because you've had your silver done. Yeah, okay. So I got 6 of the silvers base coated on them. How would you do the banner in Dominion as Astral Templar, please? Okay. What? So this one, this banner. Robert. Hey, Jed. Can answer that question. If it's the pennant that these guys carry, let me know. If it's the Vexillor, I mean, it's the same thing, but... Because... Yeah, okay, so my understanding of how the banners work, and this is just literally from... studying the box art one, because there aren't any references at all in the Stormcast Codex for how to do banners for the Celestial Vindicator, so I just made it up. Now, my understanding, based on what I can see, is that the banners are basically painted in the livery of the storm host that is being carried. So in the Hammers of Sigmar case, so in this guy's case, the banner is the same blue, the field is the same blue, and the face on the front of it is the same white as it is on the shoulder pad, right? So what I did on this guy is I just copied that idea. So I just went with black for the center because it's black on the shoulder pad, and then white field because it's a field of white on the shoulder pad. So to do an Astral Templars banner, my understanding is that the Astral Templars, if I remember rightly, their thing is, yeah, so they do it as it's the same color as the rest of their armor, and the kind of the hammer on the shoulder pad typically is gold, but the lightning bolt is white. So looking at their thing, it would be a mixture of gold and white. So what I would do to paint an Astral Templars banner is I would paint the field of the banner the same color as the Astral Templars armor. I would paint the face gold, and I would paint the I would paint the face white, and I would paint all of the trim gold, basically. That's how I would do it, I think. But that's my understanding of how it works. Because if you look at the Hammers of Sigmar one, it is exactly how that works. So it's how that's how I've based it, like that. Looking forward to seeing the tutorial for Hobgrotz just so I can draw over more models I don't have time to paint. Looks great. What is your favourite army? Dude 4739. My favourite army? Ooh, in which system? That narrows it down a little bit. Because in 40k it's the Blood Angels. And in Age of Sigmar it's the Stormcast Eternals. But I don't know which Storm host. Hallowed Knights have long been my absolute favourites, but Hammers of Sigmar are also really cool, as are the Anvils of the Heldenhammer, as are the Celestial Vindicators, as are the Celestial Warbringers, as are the Astral Templars, as are the Tempest Lords, as are the Golden Mains. They're all great. Good evening, Pandora's Socks. Good evening. Age of Sigmar is Stormcast. Yeah. Hands down. Sylvaneth are a close second. I'm really enjoying Demons, painting them at the moment. Are you going to do the killer boss on Gnashtooth? Yes, I am. I am. I am indeed. He's behind me. I'm going to do everything in the Dominion box. Everything is getting a video. Every miniature that is in that box is getting a video. No question. Did you also play Warhammer Fantasy? I did a little bit. Not as much as I probably should have done as a youngster. I have some Empire, some Dwarves, some High Elves, some Goblins. I love you. I love you too. Thank you very much. Right, let's grab some brushes. We need... What's that? That'll do. And that one. And we're back in a room. So, yeah. So we're painting Hobgrotz. So this will be fun. So like I said, I was figuring out the scheme. And as far as I can tell, the silver armor that they're wearing is like a black silver. So I've gone with Lead Belcher as the base, and then I'm going to do Black Templar over the top of it. But I need to add some some more Lead Belcher here because I haven't finished that. I have to add loads and loads of water because it is so hot. Runaway hair there. Still torn between Astral Templars and Celestial Vindicators for my scheme. Models looking great. Thank you very much, Ashwoods. I honestly, hang on. I think you wouldn't go far wrong by doing this. Having an Astral Templar and a Celestial Vindicator together. Don't they look great? As a pair? You could have 1,000 points of Celestial Vindicators and 1,000 points of Astral Templars. Or you could be like me and have about 12,000 points of Anvils of the Heldenhammer and wish you had 12,000 points of every single other Storm host. Right, let's get on with it. Start getting this Lead Belcher on these remaining armor pieces. So on the Hobgrotz, what it is they've got some areas that kind of look a little bit runic in a way. So like on the back, you've got these triangles here, and you've also got this one here on the, it's kind of like a crotch plate. By kind of looking at the various little pictures of stuff that I've got of them, they're definitely a different colour. So I'm just leaving those, but any of these ones, like this studded armour, and their helmets, of course, they're going to be this kind of black silver, which we're going to achieve by doing Lead Belcher all over and then adding Black Templar, because Lead Belcher is just that little bit brighter than Iron Warriors. And I love Iron Warriors, but I just think it's a little too dark for this. And I have to move very quickly because of the temperature. As I discovered as I was painting my Anvils of the Heldenhammer Vindicta today. That was quite a surprise. Just watching the paint dry out before me. Pandora Socks, you are by far gaining ground to be my favourite hobby YouTuber. Any tips for getting a smooth finish on contrast? I often find it hard to achieve smooth layers like you do. Yeah, I've filmed this video, which I keep talking about that I need to get on with editing it. It's just thingy. Basically, the thing with contrast is there's a balancing act between how much paint you have on your brush. So if you've got too much, it won't be smooth, and if you haven't got enough, it won't be smooth. So if you've got too much, it'll be dark and blotchy, and if you haven't got enough, it'll be scratchy and horrible, or scratchy and thin, and it won't kind of do the thing that you want it to do, and then you'll go back over it with more, and that will mess with the times. So first and foremost, you've got to be able to get the right amount of contrast on your brush, and that is basically a fine line between it being wet but not forming a drip. The other thing to bear in mind when you're painting with contrast paints is the brush stroke with which you use. Now typically, I'll demonstrate on this actual Hobgrotz here, when it's like we're going to add any kind of traditional classic paint, it's just basically like this. People generally just, attack the model all over the place. That is not good for contrast, because as it settles, it moves it, and you don't want it to move. You want to just kind of basically glide across the surface. And what I recommend is sticking to the tip of the brush, kind of like you were using a fountain pen. Or like a calligraphy pen. Has he got... No, that's not... Do 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 do. Looks pretty good to me. Is that focused on the Hobgrotz? No, now it is. There we go. Good evening! Good evening, Atto. I don't know what colour to do his drum. Oh, sorry about that. We'll keep going. Because we've got thin down lead belcher here that we don't want to waste. Lovely stuff. How is everybody else coping with the heat today? Not coping, just melting. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing today. Trying frantically to get some videos done. This weekend was quite the ordeal. Well, not ordeal. It's more a label of love, but... So last week, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been releasing some shorts. So I'll start doing that. Launching our What It Looks Like series. So this weekend, I thought, you know, I've got this weekend clear. Don't have any kind of specific projects I need to kind of get on with. I'll start that What It Looks Like series. We'll get that done. So I ended up painting up all the bases, and I was going to edit them slowly over about a week. And then I ended up being unable to paint because it was so hot in this flat that actually the paint was just drying out as soon as I was getting it out of the pot. So I decided to make 34 videos. So there are 34 What It Looks Like videos. And I want to do all of the metallic ones. But for that I require 102 bases and some Rune Lord brass spray. So if you'd like to see those, don't forget to support the channel so that I can afford to get those, get that stuff. To grab those for you, grab that stuff for you, and do those metallic contrasts as well. You can do that by dropping a super chat if you like, or you can simply like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Help us grow and get there, because every little bit helps. And there we go. That's the end of the marketing spiel for today. Good evening, Jonathan. It's okay, I forgive you for shouting. It was an accidental, excited shout. So at the moment, the colours for the Hobgrotz skin, I've only done one layer on it, and it is 2 parts snakebite leather to 1 part Nasdrag yellow, and that's it so far. Now what I might do is add some Dark Oath Flesh as a recess shade. I think that'll look really cool. And then there'll be a highlight, yet to be determined. But that 2 part snakebite leather to 1 part Nasdrag yellow, it comes out pretty awesome, as you can tell. Somehow getting there. Hello, Ben. Yeah, I see a lot of people painting them as like yellow, and honestly, I think there's definitely yellow in there, like Agaros Dunes, for example, which you could just use on its own if you wanted, but I just think they're a little bit murkier than that. That's what they look like to my eyes. And that's why I wanted to get that kind of a little bit more of a brown texture in there. So I thought, let's add the dirtier yellow and a paint I haven't used a lot of, which is snakebite leather, into the mix. And lo and behold, we've got pretty much the perfect tone. What I was trying to go for was something that gives me the flat tone for them, so that I can then add the shade if I need to. And then add the highlight, and that way I didn't have to do any kind of pesky layering up, because that's quite a large thing to undertake, on 20 models. It's a lot to deal with. That much layering. The aim of the game is to get them done quicker. Because they're only Hobgrotz. As I say, there are 20 of them. There we go. All the silver's done on all 20. All 20? All 10. The other 10 are being kept aside, as I said. If I'd been sensible, I would have left one aside so I could show you. I do have the other 10, but I want to film them for the video. And it'll look weird if I do 9. But once I've got the Hobgrotz done, combined with the Gut Rippers, and the 10 Vindictors, that's 40. That's 2/3 of the box done. Then we can just rip right through things like the Manskewer Bolt Boys, the Annihilators, the Praetors, Yndrasta, the Lord, whatever his name is. And the Gut Ripper, the Gnashtooth. So I need to look up Dominion. What I want to see. I can't believe it's still available. Can still buy Dominion if you haven't yet. I recommend picking it up. Lord Imperatant, that's his name. Right, where's my Hobgrotz? I want the 360 degree, because I want to know what colour their pants are. Aha! What colour are your pants? Sort of like a wildwoody colour. Yep, definitely wildwood. Got a musician. So I can see what colour the drum is supposed to be. Might be silver. Should go with silver. Let's go with silver. Let's just do it. I've still got it. No, let's not go with silver. Let's go with silver for the beta. And we'll go with a slightly bronzier colour for the drum. Make the spike that same bronzier colour. Do you find using contrast paints makes a huge difference in cutting time army painting? I actually bought a load of contrast paints after seeing your tutorial for the gut rippers. Yes. It cuts the painting time almost in half for me. But that is because I'm very used to using them. I think for people who are using them for the first time, it might feel like they're taking longer because you're trying to master them. But honestly, with contrast paints, my painting is sped up exponentially. And that is because before contrast paints, I used to spray everything black. And that meant everything had to be layered up, which meant everything needed at least two thin coats, then a shade, then possibly a layer, then a highlight, then a highlight. Whereas with contrast paints, I do a contrast paint and then I do a highlight. It speeds me up. Absolutely. Oh, Gloomspite Noob, thank you so much. Wow, for the Rune Lord brass undercoat. There we go. Good evening, Chris. A steep learning curve. I think this is the thing with contrast paints. There is a bit of a learning curve. Whether it's steep is just whether or not, like... I think there can be. Yeah, sure. Like I said earlier, I don't know if you heard earlier, the trick is knowing how much you have on your brush, and you want to... I can demonstrate this, in fact, with some... Let's do it with some Hexwraith Flame. Let's do it live. You're an absolute legend, Gloomspite Nate. I will buy some Rune Lord Brass spray tonight. Right. So this Hexwraith Flame is basically a contrast paint. But when you paint with your contrast paints, right? I don't know how well this is going to show. That right there is too much, because you can see it's starting to form a drip at the end, right? So that's too much paint. If you go and then attack a miniature with that much paint, it's going to be all dark and blobby. So then you need to kind of try and sponge it off, which is a little bit harder to do. But as you can see, it's starting to form a drip. We don't want that. Don't want that at all. So if I wash the brush. Now the other thing that can happen, I need a completely dry brush for this, is if you don't have enough for the section that you're doing, that is not going to be enough paint right there. So what will happen, and I'll demonstrate on my hand, is if you haven't got enough paint, you just get a scratch. If you have too much paint, you get a blob followed by the actual tone that you want. Now the trick here is to have that much, so that the brush is wet but it's not forming a drip and it's not too dry. So when you come to do your coat, what you then do is you use the tip of the brush to glide across the surface. So see? Make sense? I'll demonstrate this live again. Let's do it properly. Here we go. Here's a spot of palette paper. Just giving my ultramarines blue a good shake. Akiku Hana, I think, yeah. it doesn't necessarily have to be bone dry, but if you've got water present, what will happen is it'll scratch out. It'll start to separate. So, in fact, let's demonstrate that first. So here is some Ultramarines blue, right? Now if I add some water to that, what you're going to see is that's going to dry really quickly. Now what you can see here, don't know how well, but when you've got water present, do you see this line around the outside? That can happen. This can also happen here, which is where it's separated, right? The darker and the lighter. That's contrast paint with some water added in. Right. So the majority of it's fine, but like there, it separates it out. That's what water does. It separates those pigments. So having a drier brush, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like bone dry. It can have a little bit of moisture. It can be damp, but if you've got like a blob of water in there, it will seriously compromise your contrast paint. Now, here's what I was demonstrating before in terms of how much brush paint to have on your brush. So, if I have too much paint on my brush, so that it is starting to form a drip, I just need to grab some more. There we go, starting to form a drip now. Wherever you start, you're just going to get a really heavy concentration. So like right there. And then you're going to pull it out until you get to eventually, that's the tone you're aiming for, right? So all of the heavy stuff is going to stay down here. So what ends up happening is you then having to do this to kind of spread it out. And as you can see, it's full of brush stroke marks, which is what can happen. See, that looks ugly, which we don't like. Good evening, Paul. If you don't have enough, brush to cover, paint on your brush to cover the area. See how it immediately scratches out? And you end up with this kind of finish. See? So this is too much, and then you're trying to correct it so it gets all, you know, blobby and dark and kind of tide marks. But then like this, because I started off blunt and I just went for that one long brush stroke, this is all nice and smooth. There. That's if you don't have enough paint on your brush, so it becomes really scratchy, as you can see definitely on the end here. You know, this is my brush with not enough paint on it to do the job. See? See how scratchy it is? It's horrible. So, now this is going to be a little bit of a dodgy tutorial because it's a piece of paper, right? There's nowhere for the contrast to really flow. But ideally, what you want is to shake this because it's so hot. Now, ideally, what you want with the paint is for it to be wet but not forming a drip. So like that. And then what you want to do is you want to just glide across the surface using the tip of the brush. So that you just kind of make contact with the tip and then just start going like that. You see? And now there's not enough paint. So now we'll grab a little bit more. Similarly again, I'll do it here. Make sense? I do have a number of videos that are awaiting my creative input, where we're going to go through mixing your paints, mixing your contrast paints, how to balance that on your brush, and it'll be in a better resolution than this because I know this is live cameras and it's hot, so my system is making it a little bit laggier and it's hard to kind of white balance things like this. But we go through that, how to kind of do that kind of thing. We then also go through contrast primers as well, and I've got one more video that I need to film, which is about glazing and shading with contrast, and that's basically the basics of contrast paint. So I need to get those done. But honestly, if you follow any of my videos and just kind of pick it up, you'll figure it out. The first time you use it, you might go, this is a bit weird, but you just got to get into the practice of doing it. I would maybe do a test model first. Would be a recommendation of mine, I think. My test model was with actually Christopher Harkness, where I did, I think, what was it, Chris? It was 40 Demonettes, 3 Seekers of Slanesh, an Infernal Rapturous, over like 3 or 4 days. We both decided one weekend that we were going to paint the entire of a Wrath and Rapture box. You should definitely do in the video series of an idiot's guide to contrast painting. Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it the idiot's guide, but yeah, that's what I filmed. That's what I'm in the process of trying to bring together. It was 10 demonettes at first. That was the point. Yes, no. So these past 5 minutes are so important. Yeah, no. So that I've done that exact thing in a video. I just need to do a little bit of extra work to them, and then every brushstroke is an experiment. Yeah. It is. Like, I've learnt stuff about contrast paint as we've gone along. I've learnt that you can highlight with contrast paint. If you wanted to. What you do is you do a highlight of white first, and then you use your contrast paint over the top of it as a highlight. If you wanted to. So here's our Hobgrotz. That's the state they're in. So for that extra armor plate, so like the crotch one down here, and oh, actually their pants, that's what we were going to do next. I'm going to trademark Idiot's Guide to Contrast Painting and make you pay me royalty. Well, then I can't use that. I might call it like the Beginner's Guide, or Getting Started with Contrast Paints. How to Prime. So with the how to prime video, I've basically it's kind of a weird video, and I need to add a clip to it. Well, I need to film a clip to it, which uses all those bases that I've just done for the how it looks or what it looks like series. That compares and talks about the theory behind Gracia, Wraithbone, Retributor Armor, Sil, Lead Belcher, Corax White, and Chaos Black. And Mech Standard Grey as well. That's in there, I believe. But I just need to show what it actually looks like. I've done it with 2 Blood Angels, but there's a little bit more that needs to be done on it. The brushstroke one is as you've seen, but we also go through how to mix with contrast paints. Basically, water's a no-no, but Lamium medium, contrast medium, any other form of, paint thinner medium is pretty much fine. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That in that video, and then also I go through the brushstrokes one, and then I believe I also then apply it to a Crimson Fists captain in that video as well. So as I say, I need to do the how to correct contrast or how to kind of enrich it with glazes and stuff video, and then that series is pretty much ready to be edited and all that kind of stuff. I just have to make this decision as to whether or not I'm going to put my face in the video first. I don't know if people want to see that, me going, hello, here's a video, it's that sort of thing. Buy me a Tesco's meal deal and you can use it. A Tesco's meal deal. Ooh. There are months at the moment where even that would be stretching it for me. Starving artist and all that. Right, I think the other metallic on here that we're going to use is Balthazar Gold. Have a look, shall we? Because I think they've actually got 3 metals involved in the Hobgrotz, if I remember rightly when looking, staring longingly at the photos. Yeah, it's kind of they've kind of got a gold, but not really. Okay, so there's Runelord Brass in there, and there is. See, now that looks like Screaming Bell to me. No, it's Balthazar Gold. It must be Balthazar Gold. Or it's all Runelord Brass and then various different shades. Maybe that would work. Jonathan De Silva, do you see in colour like that rest of us mortals, or do you wake up, greet the morning and say, well, that sun is more flash gets yellow than normal? There are times, I must say. In fact, I don't know, it's a weird one, but we when we bought our sofa, I was basically looking at it going, I don't know if that's Achillean green or Pterodon turquoise, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a mix of two, 1 to 1. You could call it the joy of contrast, but I feel Bob Ross' estate might raise an eyebrow. Yeah, but Bob Ross is too much of a lad. I'm sure he'd be fine with it. So I think the thing to do on these, rather than have tons and tons and tons of metallic bases and all that kind of stuff and loads of different washes, I think the thing to do with these guys is looking at the product art, right? So like this is a slightly different color to the kind of crotch plate down there, same as that one, that kind of handle there, and same for the handles and all the things, the weapons and stuff. I think the thing to do is to paint them all with Runelord Brass and then use like Dark Oath Flesh or something for them, and use Agaros Dunes for them, and use maybe one of the browns for the slightly darker ones. Co-op meals deals are better. Are they indeed? There was a time when Sainsbury's meal deals were the best, but then they took the, taste the difference sandwiches off them, and they now are terrible. Hello, Dazron. You can get a Ginster sausage roll as a side. Well, damn. Co-op ones win. I'm stuck trying to decide, team. Should we just risk it and have a go? also feel like the Hallowed Knights are underrepresented right now. Do, 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 do. I can't find my Rune Lord Brass. It's definitely here. Oh, it's literally right there. There we go. There we go. Hallowed Knights, Astral Templars, Celestial Vindicators, Hammers of the Heldenhammer, Hammers of Sigmar. Middle class problems. Yeah, exactly. I'm guessing that's about the Sainsbury's meal deal. How do you paint so much? How many videos are you working on at the same time? So that varies. Technically this is working on one, the Hobgrotz. This is another one I'm working on. I've then got I've got the Contrast Beginners series, which is 4 to 5. So 5, 6, 7 videos are being worked on at any one time at the moment. Oh, and there's the Crimson Fists captain as well. But he's not a full video, he's various different videos. But yeah, I'm working on a lot at once. And it's because I have to, right? It's so that I can live a fairly normal life. So that I can get a video out every Thursday and Sunday. I generally have to work on at least 2 at the same time. And if I can work on like 4 or 5 at once, that's perfect. Because then I can get 2 weeks in advance. Right. Sup, Kataro? How you doing? I'm shaking this Rune Lord Brass, by the way. My faithful pot of Rune Lord Brass that I had for ages and never used, and then the Necrons were a thing, and now I use it for everything that isn't bright and shiny and noble. That's why I am senpai. Thank you. So, here we go then. We'll shut that because it's hot. I don't want to dry out my faithful pot of Rune Lord Brass. So let's move you out of the way so I don't stab myself in the hand. Get out of it. There we go. Right. Rune Lord Brass, here we go. I could do this thing down just a little bit more. Here we go. Daniel. How you doing? Is everyone still hanging in there in the heat? I'm just about holding on. I forget what it's like to paint without a painting handle every so often. It is not fun on the wrists. I keep forgetting to paint their pants. There we go. Just about managing, had another fan delivered today. Ooh. What was their name? How's it going, guys? Yeah, very good. Thanks, Mike's Wargaming. How are you? Ben Thorne. I'm a southern boy enjoying the northern heat. It's been 5 to 7 degrees lower than what I'm normally used to, so it's been really nice, to be honest. On this way, I want to say thanks for your videos. They help me a lot. You're very, very welcome, Daniel. I only took an hour to clean and assemble one Armiger Warglaive chainsword arm. Who designs mould lines on every single bloody chainsaw tooth? Ooh. Yes, I remember it well, Ross. Sometimes I think this must be what it's like being in a block of G's regarding this heat. Yeah. I'm a fat northern lad melting an East Mids mug at the moment. Well, there you go. Thanks for that, Chris. How many fans have you got on at the moment? I've just got the one in the corner. I was worried about even having that one on because I thought it would be too disruptive to the microphone. But no one's pointed it out yet. Cue everyone pointing it out. This is unacceptable, Mr. Warhipster. I expect studio quality sound at all times. I agree. You should. Only the best. Only the best for my subscribers, I tell ya. Does anyone have a good idea as to where I can get 100 sculpted bases for reasonably cheap? Because with Gloomspite Noob's wonderful donation, I can now get the spray. Just need to get those bases as well, and then I can do the rest of the what it looks like series. You pointed out it's too loud. I knew it. All I can hear is fan. I can't even hear the music or you. It's another Hobgrotz Rune Lord Brust done. Green stuff roller. Well, that's not a bad idea. Although I'm more of a clip it off the sprue and spray it kind of guy. I should email someone and say, hello, I'm doing a series at the moment and I need 100 bases. Care to supply? Ooh. Three out of 10. There's a slight hiss when you and the music go quiet, that's it. Wait, did I miss out on a dad joke? Or did I make a dad joke? My cats have been looking at me today like the heat is my fault. Yeah, it is your fault. To them. It's not your fault, but you know. The cats will never forgive you. Wife is Romanian, went over in the summer once, was 45 degrees during the day. I slept on the floor under the air conditioner. After that I don't go during summertime. I'm not surprised. Flea Bay, maybe Shapeworks. Yeah, no, it's not a good idea. That's not a good idea? It's not a bad idea. So I'm taking Harlequins to a tournament this weekend. A friend who is becoming a commission painter said he would paint my bikes and the riders. He came and saw me yesterday and said he can't paint the riders, but he has painted the bikes. Cue me painting 26 jet bike riders before Friday. Oh, that's rough. I'm sorry, Jonathan. R2 have been quite enjoying having more of the house to themselves for longer, but they still blame us. Yeah, Malcolm and Kaylee are like that. You could use any kind of clay like Fimo, it doesn't have to be green stuff. Tap up any cubic for a 3D printer promotion deal. Yeah. Maybe. Could be I'm saying, they seem to love giving those away. The fan one, as a purveyor of the finest dad jokes, I appreciate. Yeah, okay, okay. I keep forgetting that it's really hot. I know that sounds like a stupid thing, but what I keep forgetting is that my paint Dries out a lot quicker. Oop. Do 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 do. Oh, I've missed a finger there. How embarrassing for this Hobgrotz. Not for me. It's not my finger that I missed. Do 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 do. Lovely stuff. That looks quite nice, doesn't it? Marvelous. Yep. Have I missed anything on there? Everything that needs to be metal is metal on there. Yeah. Halfway there. Also, Warhips, I'm gonna be starting an Ossiarch Bone Reapers army. How would you contrast paint bleached bone? Wow. Isn't that a question? Let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look at Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Let's look at the Necropolis Stalkers, because that's probably the biggest version. Oh, it ain't half a lovely scheme, is it? There's quite a lot going on there. you know what? I think with these guys, with the Stalkers, by the looks of it, I think kind of some thinned down wildwood for that kind of cold, that cold bone that they've got there. I think if you go and check out any of my Lumineth Realm Lords tutorials and look up how to paint the cloth, I use like a 6:1, I think it is, contrast medium to 1 part wildwood to do their cloth. I think that's probably perfect for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and then like a really kind of hard highlight, probably of something like, in fact I would do it over Grey Seer for Ossiarch Bone Reapers because it's quite cold. It's not warm bone, is it? I would use a thinned down wildwood, and then I would use like a pallid witch flesh maybe to highlight it. There is a bit of a fleshy colour looking at the Stalkers. So you could conceivably add in like some thinned down, let's say dark oath flesh to like really thin though, like 6 or 7 or 8 parts even, just to add that kind of slightly fleshier nature to them. Would be possibly how I would do that. I do have a Catacross that I need to paint. He arrived yesterday. Dazron, I accidentally forgot to do my Tale of Many Warhipsters intro this month, so I'm sitting here painting the Scorpec Lord. Does that count as a unit? It absolutely does. He's a HQ. He is a unit in and of himself, and he's an absolute unit of a model. So, yeah, he absolutely counts. If there's any reference, the armor is going to be like a blood red / king crimson color. Yeah, I would definitely go for like a colder bone. Warm bone, that's what she said. I apologise in advance. That's what Jonathan said. And that's what I said as well. That's the conversation they had. Yeah, I mean, you could always just go for a classic and just whack some wildwood over it. I think for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, though, you definitely want to go from a colder base. I think you want to go for Grey Seer or Corax White. Agaros Dunes would be too warm, I think. So Skeleton Horde all over it would be absolutely fine. But you could also use that thinned down wildwood to get that kind of bleachier tone. Oh, Mr. Tassel on him. It's not very Warhipster. And actually, no, that's exactly what I do all the time. For I am not a perfect painter. Yeah, this one is a leader, so he's a bit fancier, so he gets some trim. Do 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 do. Not very much trim. Hobgrotty. Question: how do you like the new Vulture models premiered this past week? I love them. I think they're really cool. I think that question's already been asked and I didn't answer it at the time. I think they're really cool. And then I saw a post on Instagram from the Tabletop Inquirer saying Cruel Boy's Mega Boss regrets picking Vulture as his mount, as only attacks dead things. Which made me laugh. But yeah, no, I really like them. I will endeavour to get hold of one and paint it for all of you. I do see a future in which I have a large Cruel Boys army. Because these have been a lot of fun to do so far. I'm really liking them. And everything they've shown so far is just beautiful. Do 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 do. It's really weird hearing my real name and not the Bolt Rifles title. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I didn't realise you were Bolt Rifles. Didn't put two and two together. I could refer to you as Bolt Rifles if you prefer. Mini Painter Megs offered me a vulture off. Consider it done. Bring it on, Mini Painter Meg. We'll have a vulture off. Yours will look all realistic and shit, and mine will look all contrast painty and shit, and yours will be fantastic and better than mine, probably. Or do you mean, Meg, that we both build and paint a vulture and then we just smash the models together and see which ones breaks first? I think I might need two too. Oh, you are very welcome, Doom's Lair. We've done 3 now of the shorts. There's 31 more to come. It's the 1980s Transformers tune, haha. Yeah, the Powerballs! Power ballad, even. Powerballs! I've seen a rumour mentioning a killer boss on giant bat mount, but I think it's likely been the Vulture. Yeah, I think it probably was. Never cared much for orcs in the past, were too cartoony for my taste, then the new versions came out. I'm not as bad as Orky Dorky, but really love the new design. No, I'm glad people are enjoying the what it looks like videos. That was 3 days of hot, sweaty work up here. Which I think I've already complained about, so I'll stop complaining about it. It's just because of the heat. I had the idea to do that video series and I was just like super excited, and I started doing it, painting all the bases, and I was like, this is great, and then the heat wave hit. Once I'd finished painting them, I was like, well, I've got to edit them. And when better than when you have a free weekend? We will do those metallic ones. I need to buy some Rune Lord Brass Spray now. Now I can buy some, thanks to Gloomspite Noob. What would be really fun is if I could turn up to a tournament, a 1 to 40,000 tournament with an AOS Cruel Boys army and just say everything's proxied. I'm sure that would enrage somebody somewhere. They're feral orcs. I'm not sure when the Beast Snaggers box is going to arrive at my place, but it is going to arrive at my place, and we are doing it, for all those wondering. I was looking at it earlier today when somebody posted a picture of a bunch of them on eBay for sale at exorbitant prices. And I thought, you know what, that's actually quite a manageable amount of models. To do reasonably quickly. And of course, for anybody wondering out there, I will also be doing the new Thousand Suns and Grey Knights. I know no one's asked me about that tonight, but I thought I'd just say it now. I played my first game with the Cruel Boys last night, actually. They're really good fun to play. Oh, excellent. It's class when those venom encrusted weapons blow up. Oh yeah, because they get mortal wounds on 6s, don't they? It's very cool. I believe that is what ADR is doing, yeah. I've told him to take 3,000 pictures of every single model that is in the book, in the codex, so that I can use that as pictorial reference. Right, whilst we're just waiting to make sure that that Rune Lord brass is absolutely dry, does anyone have any questions? I mean, it probably is dry, let's face it. It's like 400 degrees up here, but... Or 5s with a Shaman's ability. There you go. Oh, I bet that new Shaman does it on 4s. There's been a fair few subtle mentions about Fallen Dwarden lately. I'd love to see them return. Yeah. Have there indeed. Maybe there will be. I don't know anything. Please don't. Please don't think I do. I know nothing. Do 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 do. What's your favourite sandwich? I mean, the one I eat pretty much every day is a ham and cheese sandwich. But I do love a BLT. I also really like the... funny to go back to meal deals. I really like the stuff, the turkey and stuffing sandwich they do at Tesco's. It's a very nice sandwich. Any speculation on Chaos Dwarfs with new Hobgrotz? I don't have any speculation. How would you paint amber using the contrast paints? I've not been happy with my attempts with it so far. I'd ask her first. Let's have a look at amber. I mean, it looks like... I think with to paint amber, I think you'd need to start from a Wraithbone base. I think there's a possible argument here that the best way to do it would be to have it as Wraithbone base, then paint Gryph-hound orange over it, and then highlight it with yellow, but like a Uriel yellow or something. I haven't seen a good reason to have the Hobgrotz in a list yet. They seem really out of place in the army. Shoe size. My shoe size is 11. Didn't use the Hobgrotz, Christopher. I was tempted, but the temptation to run more Bolt Boys was too great. Favourite sandwich filling? Ham, probably. Hobgrotz equals chaff cannon fodder. Yeah. That's exactly what someone would say that knew something. Your denial will strengthen the rumour. Breaking news. Warhipster reveals stuff that he doesn't actually know anything about. Clickbait. Are there any materials, finishes, or parts of model that you think would be better painted in non-contrast method? Metallics every time, although I use contrast paints to shade metallics. That is a very good question. See, the problem is in the classic method, it involves bringing shade paints into it. Now, I think the gloss shades for me still have a place in my painting cabinet. Things like Nuln Oil and Agrax Earthshade, I'll only ever use them for basing now. Because I don't like them on models. Because shade paints generally turn the whole thing the same colour. Right? So when you put Caraba Crimson over something, everything has the same hint of Caraba Crimson. Which, for me, ain't great. Which is why I use contrast paints to do shading. Because contrast paints to do shading will still do their contrast thing. So they'll do the darker in the darker recess. They'll change the colour of the thing fundamentally on the flat panel, and then they'll still leave a bit of the original colour highlighting through on the edge. There's an argument to be made that things like leather, if you're going to go real hard with it, so like do kind of all like the stitching and kind of thing like that, maybe contrast can stay out of that one, because with leather, there's stuff like that where you're going to do hyper realistic leather where you kind of paint in all of the, like I said, all of the stitches and all of the kind of battle damage and all the, not battle damage, but you know what I mean, like, you know when you see people do hyper realistic clothing, you're not really shading down, you're layering up in that instance. But there's an argument to be made that contrast could still provide the base for that. So I don't know. Are there any particular textures? Because like scales and fur and hair and faces and all that, I think are just easier with contrast. There's an argument to be made that you could use contrast as a shade instead. in certain instances. So like if you're doing like Space Marine armor, so you're doing like Blood Angels, for example. If you painted it all Mephiston red, if you painted it all Mephiston red, you could then, you know, shade it with Blood Angels red. I don't know. It's a hard one for me to answer because I just love contrast. Yeah. When is Reza playing his Imperial Guard army? I need to turn up with a bugle and scare him a wee bit. I don't know. You have to ask him. He will soon, though, I imagine. More Bolt Boy sounds Ace John. I've not had a chance to play those 3 yet. I'm set building them now and trying to think how I'll ever use them. You've not got anyone to play? My wife's wanting to learn, but we need to build up Dominion first. That, and we're all still being really careful with the plague, so we need to sort space to play at home. Well, with all of those new stuff from Dominion, because you've got the new tiles and stuff, which is really cool. Do Hobgrotz come in units of min-size units of 20? Because that could be a use for them. If they come in, or if it changes to when their battle tome comes out to be min-size 20, you could reinforce them twice to make a big unit of 60, and that will be something that will be not nice to try and shift for a lot of armies, I think. I'm just going to grab my Wildwood. Have you gone? Oh, yeah. Yeah, if they went up to min size 20, I would see there being a huge place for Hobgrotz in an army. Just one big blob to distract. I was half tempted to start a petition to get GW to change Liberator's minimum size to 20. Imagine that for a shield wall. I return after some good news for my conversion, or kit bash I mean. Oh, lovely. Is it working? I'd love to see it, Lizzie. You send it to me on Instagram or something. Particularly if you're pleased with it. I actually woke up with this piece of stock music in my head the other day. I used to go to a club nearby. Let's scroll back up. I live in Northumberland. I struggle for games at times. I haven't played in ages myself. Keeps his wildwood outside so it stays wild. Yeah, that is what I do. I used to go to a club nearby. Yeah, but it was a toxic place. It does seem to happen. They'd need to be battle line to double reinforced. They're certainly not, and base size 10. They're currently not. I can imagine it is a bit of a trick sometimes. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a character or similar that gives them battle line down the line. I'm thinking there'll be a character as well. Yeah, a Hobgrotz champion or Hobgrotz boss or something like that. I would not be surprised. Well, the arm and weapon I need for accuracy is from the Custodian's Contemptor, which is a shame because I can't get it separately. Oh, right. Maybe a war machine as well, considering they nick all the Chaos Dwarf stuff. I really like these little guys. Maybe there'll be like a grot character that leads them. I'd like to see Chaos Dwarves return, but if they returned at the same time as like a Dispossessed relaunch. Is that what that is? That, have I got that right? It is Dispossessed, right? And am I correct in assuming that in Broken Realms Bellicor, that was Grungni that we saw? The white bearded dwarf. I don't buy that it was Grombrindle. I think even that's too meta for Games Workshop. My understanding was that it was Grungni. Based on the weapon he was carrying. What's your Instagram name so I can follow you? Warhipster. Just search me up and there I am. painting Soulblight stuff while watching. Nice. It's unfortunately a model range that pretty much passed me by apart from Curse City. Which, to be fair, actually, with the contents of Curse City, that's quite a lot of Soulblight. Thinking about it. I wanted to get a hold of all of the Soulblight characters, including Laukavai, but sadly it wasn't to be at that time. It all sold out, understandably, because it's a beautiful model range. Oh, it is very wham. That's 8. That's 9. It was Grungni. Has he forgiven Sigmar for... if he's back working with him? Has he let bygones be bygones after he sort of murdered his brother, but not really? But basically did. By basically suggesting to the angry dwarf that he goes and fights something he probably can't beat. Go on, you can have him. I don't think you can. Nah, you can have him. Oh look, he's been squashed. Lovely stuff. Things that fall out of my head. Oh, Ross, thank you so much for the 5. Calling it a night so I can get my Tale of Many Warhipsters Chapter 2 email in. Have a good evening all, and here's a chip in for those bases. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It really is appreciated. As you know, I say this every time, but honestly, thank you very, very, very much. We will get those bases. We will get those bases. I want to see this unification of the Dwalin that's been hinted at since the second Ed Fireslayers book. Ah, so like Be'lakor, Broken Realms Be'lakor was a bit of a tease for you with the unification of the what are they called? Caradron. Finished up the Vargskir yesterday, working on direwolves and death rattles. Zombies are hard to find. I got 2 boxes and need more, but nowhere to be found. Ah. I picked up a Vargsgear to convert into a Varulf for my flesh eaters. Lovely model. The Vargsgear is a lovely model. He is a great model. Grimnir knew what he was doing. Besides, he chose to fight Volcatrix as he was too hot-headed to owe an honour debt, so it's his own daft fault. Dideric, is there a tutorial for the Hobgrotz forthcoming? Yes, this is me figuring out how to paint them. And then once I've figured out how to paint them, I will film how to paint them. And that video will magically appear. It's not magic. It takes a long night of editing. But yes, so I've got these 10 are my testers. And then the other 10 will be filmed. Anyone looking to run Virkos and want to also have Blood Knights, harder to find than zombies. I've converted Dark Elf Warlocks on Cav to riding direwolves, painted up Warlocks to look like vampires. That's really cool. There's someone questioning Chris on his dwarf knowledge. Sorry, Dwarden knowledge, because that man, if he wasn't so tall, would be a Dwarden. He's a Dwarden at heart. But Geldrad means occasionally anyway. I'm talking about the Dwardrazal, when the different types of Dwarden come together potentially to reforge Grimnir. Oh yeah, don't they believe that the Urgold is fragments of him, and if they pull it all together, at least that's what the Fire Slayers believe, right? If they get all the Urgold together, they can reforge Grimnir, and the Caradron Overlords use it to power their ships and sell it. Is that right? I think that's right. So I need to quickly grab some snakebite leather because I just need to colour in that finger that I missed. There you are, snakebite leather. Hobgrotz dunes as well. Because we're going to... Oh, and we want darker flesh too. Fire Slayer flesh as well. And Black Templar. Ah, those Dwarden are all in it together. Silly Dwarden. Okay, I'm going to start with some Black Templar. I'm going to do this over the silver. Armor. This. I'll do it over the helmet as well. Just like this. That's the armor part of it done. Some fire stairs drunkenly told some dispossessed about their mission and now they're in on it too. Ah, well there you go. Caradron mine ether gold from the skyways of Chamon, the breath of Grung is what they sometimes call it. Ah, there you go. I don't miss Rune Lords from 3rd edition Warhammer Fantasy battles. No magic, no problem. I say let the dispossessed conquer fire slayers, get their fire mojo back, and there you go. Is the deadline tomorrow or end of the week? Yeah, so it's end of the week, so Sunday. So I said week commencing the 21st, not realising that it's a Wednesday. So Tale of Many Warhipsters, you've got week commencing the 21st, which will be 21st to the Sunday. So you've got Wednesday, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. You've actually got until the 25th to get that stuff into me, because we're going to be filming the video on the Tuesday, I think. Tuesday evening. So the stream will be on Wednesday. This stream will be on a Wednesday. I'm thinking Tesseract Glow and Nihilak Oxide. Yeah, in a way. So, like, I think these two, Hexwraith Flame and Nighthaunt Gloom, are pretty much contrast paints. Oh, bless me. Nihilak Oxide less so. It's that will really gum up a resource, a recess. Oh, good lord! I don't know where that sneezing is coming from. I do apologise. Tesseract Glow, sort of, but not really. They don't have that darker, lighter thing. Tesseract Glow, in a way, actually does lighter in the recesses than it does on the flat panels, to give you that glow idea. So now we're going to try some Agaros Dunes over some Rune Lord Brass and see what that looks like. Oh, of course it looks really nice. That gives us our sort of goldy colour. Which is perfect. And then I think if we use something like Dark Oath Flash over those crotch panels, we'll get that Dark Oath Balthazar gold-esque tone. Like that. Perfect. Well, I don't know about you, but I really, really like that. So now we just need some Basilicanum Grey for the weapons. I think that looks really good. Scheme figured out. Well, highlights notwithstanding. I mean, just to go back to those technical paints, you could use them, and I frequently have on like the Necrons, to enhance contrast. In fact, Tesseract Glow is a really nice highlight for some contrast paints, for like greens. Christopher Harkness, can you just imagine with the new designs what the dispossessed could be riding, such as the Manticores, Bull Centaurs, etc.? Yes. Bless you. Thank you very much. The Siege Tower, that would be ace. Mechanical golems and all that sort of thing. Steam-powered bolt throwers. Oh, there's so much they could do. I still regret selling my dwarf army when I was younger, that and not getting Thor Grim Grudgebearer and Thoric Ironbrow a couple of years back when they were on made to order. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sure they'll come back, surely. Gotta run. Cheers, Warhipster. Looking forward to the Hobgrotz vid. Wife loves your stuff. Thank you very much, Gene C. the Siege Tower. Blessings to you as well. Ooh. I'm really pleased with him. So obviously he needs some highlighting. But I think that looks very Hobgrotty, don't you? Just need to recreate that 19 more times. And then figure out what the highlights are going to be. Dr. Shattersphere, hey mate, what other storm hosts you got planned to paint? Well, you're in luck, because they're right here. So, this one was finished today, with his base as well. It's a volcanic-y base. So the Hammers of Sigmar, there they are. We're also painting the Anvils of the Heldenhammer. We will definitely be doing the Hallowed Knights. This is Gardas as an example. I just forgot how shiny he was. We've done the Celestial Vindicators. We've done Astral Templars with Silas Beastbane. So the only other one... So the ones left to do... So I've got 4 left. 4 Vindictors left. No, 3 Vindictors left after this lady. So Hallowed Knights, for sure. Knights Excelsior. And whatever the last one is. I'm torn between doing Tempest Lords and Celestial Warbringers. Do you ever use non-Citadel paints, for example, Vallejo acrylic metal colours? I want to. It's just using them on the channel for me, unless it's specifically about those paints, it's probably not ever going to make it into a tutorial. So, and the reason for that is because I think we've talked about this before, but one of the things that I try to do for my videos is make them so that, if you're searching how to paint this and you're new to the hobby, for example, when you're painting, again, let's say Blood Angels, you don't want to go, welcome to this video, today we're going to be using stuff that you won't have bought. You know? So I try to stick to Citadel for the videos. I have used some Army Painter Metallics and they're lovely. And I've used some Instar Paints metallics, and they're lovely. And I want to try the Vallejo in the Scale 75. And what I need to do is I need to do a video that compares them. And then maybe we change the, you know, some of the style in which we film these tutorials by saying we're going to be painting with a silver. Do it of your choice. I'm going to be using this one. Maybe. I would never discourage anyone from using them ever. Because I know that there's a lot of real high quality out there. But like I say, it's just like... Again, I think people who would watch a lot of my videos, if I switch to, let's say, using Vallejo model Chrome, for example, instead of Stormhost Silver, I think people who watch a lot of my videos would buy that. But it's for somebody who joins the hobby and maybe they've got this, like, these Citadel paints. They've got a lot of Citadel paints, maybe. And it's always disheartening sometimes when you go look up something and it just doesn't use anything from Citadel. Unless you are somebody who just has Vallejo paints, in which case you're then annoyed that it just has Citadel. Damn, looking so good. Love your work. Thank you, Dr. Shadowsphere. Thank you very much. Celestial Warbringers are basically Astral Templars with a white shield field and pauldron field. Yeah, yeah. That's why I was kind of, because we did Silas as an Astral Templar. So I don't know if I needed to do Celestial Warbringers. I suspect that their cloaks are different for the Celestial Warbringers. But we're doing Vindictor, so it wouldn't really matter. You should also totally get another couple of Vindictors. They're the model of the month in stores at the moment, and do Celestial Warbringers and their Astral Templars as Vindictors as too. Yeah. I'm so torn as to what Stormhost to paint. Haha, I love Knights Excelsior, but white is the bane of my existence. Well, I think I have a video that will help you for Knights Excelsior. So this is Solar Watch Custodian. I believe that is pretty much Knights Excelsior. If you look up how to paint Solar Watch, that'll tell you how I'm going to do the Knights Excelsior tutorial. And he was actually a lot easier than I thought he would be. I mix a bit of Vallejo metal colours into the Citadel metallics. They can make them really shiny and metallic if you want that. Oh, that's really cool. That's a really cool idea. I like that idea a lot. No, it's interesting. I should also just caveat this. They have blue shoulder pads. They don't have red. But the armor for the Solar Watch, that would absolutely help you with Knights Excelsior. Because their armor isn't like a bone white. It's a like a stark white. It is a slightly bony. It's a really pale bone. Gonna put the fan next to my face for a second just to cool down. Whew. Oh. That's nice. Oh, I love the Vindictor you've done, leaning towards the Celestial now. They're so nice, aren't they, Celestial Vindicators? It's just a lovely scheme. But as discussed earlier, a 2,000 point army split across Astral Templars and Celestial Vindicators would look really cool. As would, you know, this combination. As would that combination. How does Varnish respond with contrast paints? Yeah, it should be fun. I think Storm Shield. That's the one, isn't it? I think that came out at the same time. I think that one's, you know, specially good for contrast paints. Are you in the attic or the basement? I am in the attic. We live in a an upstairs maisonette, which is split across the first floor and the base and the attic. So I'm up in the attic. So this is my this is where it's not a cave. It's more like a perch. Well, I refer to it as my office quite often. Office cave. Painting workshop. All the terminology. Oh, I'm not sure what colour I'm going to do the wood on this. Standard. What am I talking about? Of course I am. 1-to-1 Black Templar Wildwood. I had to put a fan under my laptop to keep it cool. I was exporting my videos so it kept overloading my computer. Yeah, I think that's why my stream might be especially juddery tonight, is because my computer is almost burning me when I touch it. Oh. Ow. Yeah. I love Stormcast. I love them so much. So that's him now when he's nice and dry. And I think he looks absolutely fantastic. So I think all that's left to do is to do some metallic highlights. Now I think, metallic and skin highlights, the cloth and stuff can stay as it is. It doesn't really need it. And you know, it's just the skin and the metallics. The face can do with a bit of work. So like there's, for example, I think the teeth and that are black on the Hobgrotz. So we'll add Black Templar over those as well. But other than that, I think we've figured out the scheme mostly, which is really cool. I'm really pleased with that. Okay, here's a question for everyone. Top 3 comedy TV shows. Oh, I'd like to see the answers to this one. In my top 3, Brooklyn Nine-Nine's in there. Almost 100%. It's definitely in there. A classic favourite of mine is Blackadder. That would be in my top. I could just watch that over and over and over again. And a third one. Possibly It's Always Sunny. Possibly. Or maybe South Park. Something like that. Smell of Reeves and Mortimer, Brass Eye, The Office. UK, obviously. Big Bang and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Benny Hill. Spaced Fools. Dwarf. Morecambe and Wise. Lots of great choices here. Ah, The Good Place is a good shout. Good Place was very, very good. I mean, I enjoyed Superstore. I haven't watched the final season. I thought Superstore was okay. The in-between is The Good Life. Strong. Used to be on... I used to watch The Good Life a long time ago. If only they'd made Spaced Season 3. But did it need it? I got to be in the right mood for It's Always Sunny. So much screaming. Yeah, now I know what you mean. That's why it possibly wouldn't make my top. It's definitely one that's up there. It's close. But you do have to be in the right frame of mind for it. I'm trying to think of other comedies now. Community is up there too. Strong. Partridge, yeah, pretty much everything Partridge has ever done. I've put my foot on a spike. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, Mid-Morning Matters just killed me the first time I watched it. I was in absolute pieces watching Mid-Morning Matters. I couldn't, like, it was so good. And obviously the original, you know, the classic series are definitely up there. They were just sublime. Blood trickles down the screen. There's a bunch of gentlemen with jumpsuits with fetching yellow piping. Dan! Dan! What was the thing he did not too long ago? I think, was it Partridge Fixes Britain or something? I can't remember what the show was. I thought that was very good. Actually, thinking about it, with another Coogan property, The Trip. The Trip is very, 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 very funny. Series 1 hasn't aged wonderfully. No, can't imagine thinking about it. Pinch of salt? Right, I think because it's 10:30 and I need... Apparently he's from the Oast House podcast. It's brilliant. The One Show knockoff was good too. Yeah, it was very, very good. I got tickets to see Partridge live next year. Oh, you lucky... the Detectorist, yeah, Detectorist is great. Is England? Anyway. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it there so that I can go and cool down. This country, I was just saying, This Is England was the film about... It's the film by Shane Meadows about young skinheads in England in 1983. This country is basically filmed around where I live. It's around where I grew up, so it's a little close to the bone for me. I know everybody in that show. I know everybody that's in that. Not literally, but I know people who are exactly like that. So it was it's quite a lot to handle. But yes, it is a great film. This Is England is a great film. Yeah, there we go. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and thank you for the super chats. Gloomspite Noob and Ross as well. Things that fall out of my head. It really is much appreciated, and we will be able to do more. This is, what it looks like videos. With your help, so thank you so much. And we're going to we're all going to go off and watch Partridge now in a cool area. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back next week on Wednesday, because Tuesday I'm filming Tale of Many Warhipsters Chapter 2 Roundup show, so woohoo! It's exciting stuff. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I will see you all very, very soon. Happy wargaming and all that. And have a good one.